say this morning because Pastor Compere had me thinking I was in church. So I'm just going to stay in my lane, let him preach, and I'll do what I do. Thank you, Elijah and Makara, for the opportunity. Thank you guys for indulging him and being here this evening. My name is Dr. Jameson Mercier, Doctor of Marriage and Family Therapy and licensed clinical social worker. Like the pastor said, grief is everywhere because loss is everywhere. When I was 9, my father died. That was at now 27 years now. And when he says it doesn't go away, I'm living proof that it doesn't go away. But we also know it does get better. It doesn't go away, but it gets better. At this point now, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I had a colleague while I was in school, studying to be a therapist like myself. You might have heard about her. This was the young lady who, she left her family one night and she went to a shooting range, and this probably was around 2012 maybe, and she successfully managed to take her life. This is someone who I sat in class with and I studied with, and we talked about having coffee one day, and when we graduate, we would open up practices and provide counseling. And unfortunately, she didn't make it. And so like the pastor also said, no one's immune. Because if counselors are suffering with grief and depression, and supposedly we have the training, what does that say about everyone else? It says that we're all in the same boat, ladies and gentlemen. It says that we need to rely on God above, as well as those who He puts in our lives to support us. Because again, grief is real. Grief is a natural response. And don't let nobody tell you any different. The same way you get hungry, you get tired, you get thirsty, you will get sad. It is a natural response. It makes perfect sense that when you lose a child, a mother or a father, when a co-worker who you used to work with for the past 12 years or 12 days, when suddenly they pass away, you will be impacted. And you will feel what we call grief. Why? Again, it is a natural reaction. Last year I bought a car. New to me, but I bought a car. The guy who sold me the car, he and I, we spent maybe 2 hours talking, negotiating, trying to work out a good deal on a 1999 Camry. And we got a good deal. He was a good salesman. That car's in the parking lot if you guys want to take a look at it. The next day, I was told, you know how you got to come back and you get like paperwork, so your tag and everything. The guy said, hey, yeah, come back and we'll give you this, we'll finalize everything. So I showed up the next day and I said, I need to speak to the guy who sold me the car yesterday. And the owner, they said, well, let me go get him. The owner comes out, not the guy I asked for, and he says to me, yes, you were here yesterday. I said, yes, I am. I was working with the gentleman. And he says, I'm sorry to tell you, but he died. Ladies and gentlemen, grief is everywhere. I grieved that man for 2 months. And all he did was sell me a used car. Grief is everywhere. You can try to avoid it. You can try to run from it. You can try and hide. Grief is everywhere. Now, some people say you got to be strong and don't cry. You can try. You will not succeed. You either let it out now, or when you get to the red light, you let it out. Right. Or it's just going to explode. You can hold on to it, but trust me, 2 o'clock in the morning is going to wake you up. Because it has to come out. There's no such thing as having to be strong. They say, well, you have to cry. Well, we all express it differently. Some of us get quiet and we shut down. Some of us get angry, we get violent. Some of us are violent towards ourselves. We internalize it. Others turn to substances. Some people say after a couple months you need to get over that stuff. Come on now, you got bills to pay, you got kids to feed. Get off your lazy behind. No such thing. And the pastor alluded to this. There is no timetable. It's a personal thing. I opened up by telling you that 27 years ago my father died. I was 9. By the grace of God, January I will be 37. And I still grieve my father. November 25th would have been his birthday. And when I think back, I realize this last birthday that he would have had would have been his last birthday. Because he died in June on his 30th year of his 37th birthday. So even as we're having this service here, I sit and I say to myself, wow, what a coincidence. Because I will be the age that my father died. I will now, again, by the grace of God, live further than my father lived. See further than my father saw. That is something that stays with me all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to acknowledge the grief. We need to acknowledge our loss. We need to recognize our triggers. Some songs will have you on the floor. Some pictures will have you lose your mind. Know what is going to set you off, ladies and gentlemen. When my wife told me she wanted to start having a family, this is now 10 years ago, I said, you must be crazy. I don't know how to be a dad. Why? Mine died when I was 9. I was on the floor for 2 days when it came time to start a family, ladies and gentlemen. That was 10 years ago. 17 years after my father died, I was still grieving my father. The process is unique. Your process is your process. Don't let nobody tell you what should be, what can't be, what won't be. It is your process. And the good thing is there are people around you here to support you. Take advantage of them. Call on them. Lean on them. The pastor's here. The bells are here. There are counselors and doctors and therapists in your community. They live in your neighborhood. They speak your language. They go to your church. They look like you, they talk like you, they eat like you. Find one and use them. Ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to tell you is that self-care is important. Self-care will save your life.
Yes, it will.
Do not, I repeat, let yourselves burn out. It does your family no good to lose their father and now don't have their mother. It does you no good to have buried a child and now the ones left don't have their mother. Take care of yourself. Your family needs you. The community needs you. We need you. Thank you, guys.